look at Draymond Green with a stomp on Sabonis. Talk us through what we saw.
Well, it starts with a flop. Domontas Sabonis falls down. Draymond feels like he's got his arm or his leg grabbed and decides, I'm going to not step over you, but I'm going to step on you.
McNutt, he's getting into it with the crowd and everybody else.
Oh, we love to see a good villain in the NBA. Draymond completely leaning in, and rightfully so at this point. I'm pretty sure he was fairly confident he wasn't returning after that play.
And he wasn't, so he was ejected. Sabonis got a technical. Let's take you to the rest of the game because it was a thrilling finish again between these two teams. That three from Gary Payton would tie it in the final quarter. 5 minutes to go now. De'Aaron Fox, he's been so good in the fourth quarters all year long. He had 24. Kings a 4-point lead. The shot making in this series in the final minutes has been sensational to watch. Klay Thompson, one of his 5 threes, bringing the Warriors within one. But in the end, it was too much from De'Aaron. He was only 2 of 10 from 3 last night, but that one was huge. And the Kings take a 2-0 series lead. Draymond, let's talk.
Draymond, can you just walk us through what happened there?
My leg got grabbed. Second time in 2 nights. Referees just watch it. I got to land my foot somewhere. And I'm not the most flexible person, so it's not stretching that far.
So you didn't really see where you were stepping. You just kind of...
I can only step so far. I'm pulling my leg away. So it is what it is. The explanation was I stumped too hard.
When I felt, I was kind of protecting myself, and then obviously the incident happened, and I feel like there's no room for that in our game today.
All right, so we have so much to unpack coming off of that one there. Let's start, Monica, with just your reaction to specifically what Draymond did. You heard Alan say, and I could see, television, you couldn't see, Monica rolling her eyes practically out of your head at the idea that that was Sabonis' fault. What did you see there?
It's not so much, the grab is definitely Sabonis' fault. He has to own that. But you starting at the flop is way too much for me. Draymond was grabbed.
Watch
he
again.
Reacted. Oh, nope, there's no flop here.
We started that too late.
Right.
We started that too late.
I don't think Draymond doesn't step on Sabonis if he doesn't grab his ankle. I'll give you that, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but let's just start there. Did Draymond deserve to be thrown out of the game, and to what impact do you think it had on the rest of the night?
Yes, he deserved to be thrown out of the game. I think even if you want to argue that I can't stretch that much, there's a way to do that without making it a blatant stomp on someone. And then, Greeny, I struggle with that in terms of the impact on this particular game. I would not say that Draymond was having a standout performance, but in totality, the idea that the Kings would be bullied or fall to Draymond's antics, they have not done that. In fact, Hahn, I'm sure, is going to argue that Sabonis has had some antics of his own.
He certainly has. Now, listen, let's just start as we're not showing the beginning of the play, which is he and Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's boxing him out. Klay Thompson is 25 pounds lighter than Sabonis, is one of the strongest players in the league. And he flopped. He fell down in a crowd during a rebounding situation. So right there, not a basketball play. It starts there. It doesn't absolve Draymond Green. But what starts it is him falling to the ground for absolutely no reason other than to try to draw a foul.
That said, that happens a lot, right? Particularly in playoff
Doesn't
basketball.
make it right.
I'm not suggesting it's right or wrong. What I am suggesting is that Draymond Green has a history. The other thing that seems to happen a lot is he seems to do things with his feet in the playoffs that cost his team. We all remember the legendary episode in the finals in Game 5 that went a long way towards changing history in a big way.
The
and
shot
so
at the
now
crown
that
jewels,
one here.
yes.
So now what
King
happens?
James.
So is it this happens last night, by the way, for those of you who didn't stay up and watch it last night, this happens with 7 minutes left in regulation last night. So if it happens in the second quarter, you could say, well, he missed most of a game. Because it happens late, you wonder if the league will consider a suspension here. Alan, do you expect him to get suspended?
I don't. No, I think the flagrant 2 is the way you go here. It's similar to, think about it, is a stomp and a punch kind of the same type of thing? Was it really a stomp? Was it a step and a push down? Whatever it was, to me, it's time served. Flagrant 2, and away we go. And go from there. Because what the officials told us by giving a tech to Sabonis was both players were at fault. So do I expect a suspension? No. But will all eyes be on Draymond Green once again, of course, with his team now on the brink, just like we talked about in that finals? Absolutely.
What do you think, Monica?
Retweet. Good job. I'm with you on that one.
You're with me.
I'm with you on that one.
All right, so you do not believe he winds up getting suspended either?
Correct.
So now let's talk about where this leaves us. Because, oh, by the way, the Golden State Warriors are the defending NBA champs, and they are now loved to in a series for the first time ever in this iteration of them, as we've known them, since Steve Kerr became their head coach, and they have been winning all these championships and all this talk of a dynasty and everything. Their backs are against the wall as they, I was about to say fly home, they actually drive home from Sacramento for this. Are they? How would you describe the trouble they're in right now?
All right, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being that they are going to potentially get swept. I'm putting this around a 6. I think this is very legit. Moving forward, you have to do the math in my mind. They now have to win 4 out of 5 games versus a Kings squad that has proven that they are not afraid, right? You look at the clutch numbers in terms of who was shooting threes at late in the ball game. Steph, Wiggins, and Clay. Clay is the only person that connected, and that's like 1 of 6, I believe, in that clutch time moment. And as much as folks will point to the three-point shooting, the Warriors have not turned on the playoff defense switch, and the Kings are coming. Yes, the numbers are a little bit abhorrent. I certainly was nervous as the basketball was flying all around the court on the Kings offense, but Mike Brown, De'Aaron Fox, and company understand what they're trying to do. We're going to push in transition, we're going to take high-risk shots, and we're going to get in the paint until you stop us, and the Warriors have not shown they can do that.
Retweet.
There we go.
Because I also believe the same thing. I would put it at 6, and it's really not as much as what the Kings are doing, but it's what the Warriors aren't doing, which has always been their strength. Their defense in the postseason has always been very good. Wiggins coming back was supposed to be a difference maker, but you can see struggling offensively a little bit. And in the fourth quarter, nobody had an answer for De'Aaron Fox. But the bigger issue this season for the Warriors has been you can't win on the road.
Yeah.
And if you are not the team with home court advantage, that's a major problem when you can't win on the road. And the Kings, they love lighting that beam. They love playing in that building. It's a loud building. I've been there. I sat courtside for a game there this season. It's extremely loud.
Shows like this one where, well, who gets to play them? Like, that's the spot you want to be in. You know what? Be careful about the spot you want to be in. The
100%.
Sacramento Kings, by the way, all this talk about their offense, they were the #1 offense in the league this season.
Yep, and I think as we got past game 1, I sat and I found myself thinking, Hahn and Greeny, like, if this idea that there's a playoff switch, then what team maybe doesn't need to turn on the switch? And it would be the Kings.
Yeah.
They've been playing this way. I think they have ratcheted up their defensive intensity in the playoffs, but they've been who they are. There was no waiting to evolve on the biggest stage when it matters most.
How do you
Such a good point. You know who doesn't have to turn on a switch? A team who's had it on all year long.
Rolling.
A team that actually played like the season mattered. A team that actually was ready when this got here instead of just saying, oh, we know what we're doing, we'll be fine. The Golden State Warriors are in some trouble. I'm not suggesting they're done. I think your 6 sounds about right to me. But this idea that Sacramento is just there for the party, I think that's been overstated all along.
That I agree with. But the thing about the switch, if we'll stay on that analogy, is that how do you turn on a switch that you haven't had in 17 years? So they don't know what a playoff switch is. They're just playing their game. The Warriors are the team that's got to turn the switch on. They're in trouble if they can't. That's
what I mean. You know what they don't do? They don't need to turn on the switch in Sacramento. They light a beam.
Hello.
They got way better than a switch. They got purple lasers that shoot out of the roof of their arena, and they are right now up 2-0. So are the Sixers. Let's show you that one last night here. Sixers and Nets quickly here. JWill Embiid in Philly looking to go up 2-0. And as was the case in the first game, the first half was pretty tight. In fact, Monica, watch Cam Johnson. Watch him here slamming on Embiid.
I watched, Greeny. Watch your head, JWill Embiid. Listen, one thing about these Nets, they may understand the uphill climb in terms of doing something special in this first round, but they are playing loose, free, and confident.
In the meantime, third quarter now, the Nets are up 5 at the break, and Doc Rivers is mad, Alan. Why is he mad?
1 minute in, at this point, he's mad because of the physicality that's happening in the game. He told a funny story about how after a timeout, Sam Cassell said to him, are you kidding me? You remember when we used to play how physical it was? It's embarrassing you would call this a physical game, but it was. The Nets had to play that way.
And then they turned it around from there, they did. And take a look at JWill. Oh, getting his revenge. Embiid had the big night with 20 points, 19 rebounds. That was one of his several blocks. Tyrese Maxey, meanwhile, knocking down a 3. He led the way with 33, and the Sixers do get the win by a 96-84 score, so they're up 2-0. Teams that go up 2-0 in a best of 7 go on to win that series 92% of the time. Are you listening, Golden State? It's certainly trending that way for Philly here. The Sixers 6-0 against the Nets this season. Brooklyn has lost its last 8 playoff games.
Bonus writhing in pain. So he grabs Draymond's leg right there. Now Draymond steps on him.
My leg got grabbed. I got to land my foot somewhere.
That brought us together. We huddled up and we're like, yo, we have to win this game.
Here's Fox. Oh, yeah!
And 7
Suddenly they can't miss. They have waited so long for moments like this.
We're not accustomed to hitting the panic button. We know what it's like to deal with that pressure and outside noise. It's nothing new. We can go home and protect home court and give ourselves another opportunity to win here.
The playoffs don't begin until we have Draymond drama. And we had it last night. We continue with Alan and Monica McNutt. And JWill has made his way over from KJM on ESPN Radio. What were the first words out of your mouth this morning about that moment last night?
Dirty play, dirty play. One player doesn't have the same history as the other player, which factoring the history, the jump off as if it's a trampoline is what probably led to the ejection. And at the end of the day, Draymond Green needs to be in this game. And I'll ask a bigger question because he got ejected last night, okay? Regardless of whether you think it's right or not. How many times do you need Draymond Green to put himself in this situation? Where is his self-awareness from a guy that defensively needs to be on the court? Because what I watched happen at the end of that game when Kevon Looney was in drop coverage, he got roasted by De'Aaron Fox. So at some point, regardless of whether you think it was right or wrong, you have to look at Draymond and say, if you're Joe Lacob, how much longer can I take this, you not having that awareness?
I'll tell you how much longer. End of this series.
There you go.
End of this series. When their season's over, I think this
we're
is
seeing
the
the
end.
last of Draymond in a Warriors
How old
uniform?
Is he? How old is he?
33. 33.
I mean, we think he's going to learn anything at this point. You cost your team a championship doing things like this. He is beyond that at this point. You know what you get with him. You take it because what makes him a jerk is what makes him good. It certainly helps them a lot of times, and it doesn't. But in these situations, this is what's going to come up with him. And that's why when it comes time to give him a contract, a guaranteed one, multi-year, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to us to continue to be over the luxury tax for a player like this? Can he still help us win championships? Plays like this, do not.
I think that the Warriors dynasty was coming to the end of the road regardless of this, right? And as much as...
But this makes it easier, Mon.
I don't necessarily buy that because if it becomes a galvanizing point and the Warriors rattle off 4 straight wins, like then what? I think
like it did in 2016?
For as much as Draymond is the villain, he has been vitally important to everything that the Warriors have done. That's all I'm saying. And so I don't think that play matters one bit. I think it was coming to the end of the road anyway, and we'll see what happens.
Let me tell you just how significant this was. Someone sent me these notes here. That happened roughly halfway through the fourth quarter. 7 minutes left in the game. Before that moment, here's the graphic. Thank you for pulling it up. Look at the numbers before the graphic. The Kings were shooting 3 of 8. They shot 10 of 15 without Draymond on the floor. Look at the rebounding numbers. Look how many points they scored. So you say to yourself, oh, Draymond does things that don't show up in the box score. Yes,
it does.
He does, and there they are. JWill.
That's what Kevon Looney in drop coverage was getting roasted. De'Aaron Fox was able to come off screens, do whatever he wants. I guess the thing is, I get that he's the personality of the team. He's the heartbeat. I understand that. But they're like little things that make you wonder about, is he the right thing to invest in long term? Like, he got ejected. The clapping and the standing on top of the chairs, Greeny, and yelling at the crowd. Like, why? Why is it always...
Because that's who he is, Jay. That's who he is. And I mean, we used to say that about Dennis Rodman back in the day, and yet, you know what? They don't win those championships without Dennis Rodman, and this team doesn't win those championships without Draymond.
You think this team's going to win a championship?
What, you tell me.
I would happily bet you I would bet my year's salary with you they don't win a championship this year. I bet you they don't get to the conference finals.
Are they going to win this series?
No.
They're down 2-0.
I'm not going to count them out of the series because they play way better at home than they do on the road, but I'm still going to favor the Sacramento Kings. They're pressuring Steph Curry full court. It's not like Steph Curry's taking great shots. He's making shots. But Davion Mitchell and the way these guys are playing, they can't contain people off the dribble, man. Like the beam. And the fact that we're even having the conversation about Draymond Green and not about the Sacramento Kings is one of the things that I know drives the Sacramento Kings. Like the beam team is a real thing.
Well, you heard De'Aaron Fox say it right there. At that moment, he said, come on, let's go. We need to win this game. And so I think what has been unique in the Kings have not gotten credit for it is they are who they are, and they completely understand their game plan. There is this hopefulness that the Warriors are going to turn it on, and I just don't know. You look at what they did in the regular season, they gave up 118 points per 100 possessions, right? In the postseason so far, they're giving up 120 points. So nothing has changed so far. They've been the worst team in terms of defense in the playoffs.
They have been, and the other big issue for the Warriors, which normally has been a strength, is that they have turned the ball over more than they've made threes. Three-point shot has been the big thing. I mean, even Steph Curry struggled from 3 in that game. He took 10 of them, only made 3. Like, the big problem for the Warriors in this series is not necessarily what the Kings are doing. It's what they're not doing, and then they're turning the ball over. Major issues for them.
I will say, I'm with you. I can't quite say it's about to be a sweep yet because to me, the Kings play a little high risk, high reward. The ball is still flying all over the place, and you're like, ooh, right? And so there's still a window in which maybe the experience that we know from the Warriors shows
Sacramento
up.
still is 25-16 on the road. It's the best road record in the West. Just throwing it out there. I'm not saying they're going to get both, but they can still win.
It's like a 90-mile drive. So super quickly, before I move on to something else, take sweep out of it, take championship out of it. Who's going to win this series right now? Sacramento's up 2 games.
Winning.
Sacramento wins the series.
I think I'm swinging Sacramento, yeah.
Yeah, you're starting to feel the momentum go the other way.
Okay, so we are all now sitting Sacramento.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.